back to the dish. As always, I'm Jalen Russell, joined again by Jalen Gray, giving you the latest on the NBA. Now, first off, we've got Washington, who was 46-36 last year, 5th in the Eastern Conference. Houston was 56-26, 2nd in the Western Conference. Both these guys are struggling out of the gate. You've got Washington at 7-9, 12th in the Eastern Conference. Houston's 8-11, 10th in the Western Conference. Who are you more worried about long term?
I am definitely worried about Houston long term. I mean, they're obviously in the Wild Western Conference, where it's much harder to win games than the East.
Even though the Eastern Conference is doing better this year,
is
which
coming on strong. And Washington, I think Washington's struggles are. I think they could come out of them. They had a 5-game losing streak, which puts things into perspective when you look at their record. Okay, and the Rockets barely beat Philly, who just won their first game against the Lakers.
I'll give you that.
Okay. But I think that the Rockets are in a terrible position. Of course, they're 9th in points per game, so they're scoring because of James Harden, scoring 30 points a game or 50 every now and then. But they're also 28th in points allowed, and they also don't move the ball around. They're 23rd in assists per game. Harden is averaging 6.6, and Ty Lawson, their point guard, is averaging 4.5.
But let's not act like this team was built around defense. We knew they were going to struggle defensively because they have James Harden, who's a liability in his own right. They're not going to move the ball a lot because they're just trying to score through Harden and Howard. That's what their MO's always been. Their biggest issue is just
Howard
that
can't score unless James Harden sets him up.
Right, but their biggest issue right now is just that Harden, Ariza, and Lawson are all shooting well below their averages. Their point differential is like 6 per game. So if you say Harden hits a 3, Lawson hits a 3 per game, you win every single time. I think Washington's in a bigger struggle spot right now because they were built around Gortat and Nene. Nene can't play anymore. Facts. So now they're trying to make Humphries a stretch forward.
Arguably the best front backcourt in the league.
True, exactly. But that's not enough because they were built around a big man lineup. Now they're trying to make Humphries a stretch forward who can't really play that, even though he can almost shoot threes.
To more of an outside game.
But they don't have the team for it. They're too small for it. They're guys that they're trying to run this small ball lineup with. Dudley, Porter, Beal, Wall, Neal, Temple, and Sessions. Their average height is 6'5". So when you have like 4 guys on the court that are 6'5", and you're trying to play against guys who are 6'9", 6'10", at the power forward and small forward positions, you're just going to get outsized, which is why they're 27th in rebounds, 25th in points allowed, because they're trying to double down and leaving guys open at 3. So until they figure out what their identity is and get a team in here that can actually play the small ball lineup, they're not going to win games.
I think they can figure it out as long as they can rebound more. But I think Houston's problems are more dire because they're relying on one guy. James Harden is the Houston Rockets. Nobody else is averaging more than 2 assists, which means that he's doing all the scoring for them, and he's also setting up the scoring for other players.
He did it last year. That's all I'm going to say. They wrote him the whole time. But moving on, obviously Kobe Bryant. Now. True. Moving on, though, Kobe Bryant obviously announced that he was retiring this week, as we all suspected. But also guys that could retire, like Paul Pierce, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett, could all be out of the league this year. But of that era, that time frame, late 90s, early 2000s, who is the player of that era?
It's obviously Tim Duncan. It's between Tim and Kobe. It's a pretty close, race, but I think Timmy has the edge. I mean, they both have, 5 NBA championships. Timmy has 3 Finals MVPs as opposed to Kobe's 2.
Big difference.
He was also a 2-time most valuable player in the league. Kobe's only won that once.
Right.
And I mean, he's just been consistent from, day one. Like, he came in the league, he won a championship his sophomore season, and ever since then he's been a 20-10 guy. He's dropped off in points now.
Look at the guys he's played with, though. He plays with guys Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, Monty Ginobili,
and Kobe didn't
David
have
Robinson.
Shaq.
He had Shaq.
And Derek Fisher and Lamar Odom.
Did you just put Derek Fisher in that same category with Tony Parker and Monty Ginobili?
A vital part of those championships.
Don't ever say that again.
He was a part of all 5 of Kobe's championships.
He rode Kobe's coattails that entire time. Facts. And also, when you shoot a piece of paper into a trash can, what do you yell? Kobe, exactly. You don't bank it and yell Tim Duncan, which also proves his cultural significance. But just looking at Kobe's numbers, he's 17 All-Star games, 4-time All-Star Game MVP, third in points in the playoffs.
I mean, it's cool.
18th overall in win shares.
He can barely walk now.
He's the guy that made it. He's the guy that made it important to play every game like it's your last. He's going out swinging every single game.
Timmy and Pop revolutionized the game by saying, "Oh no, we can rest and go for the long haul.
Which is my other point, is that Kobe, every night you knew Kobe was going to be the main focus of the Lakers. Whereas with the Spurs, you're like, oh, maybe Tony's going to have a big game. Maybe Monty's going to have a big game.
Tim can still pull out a 30-point game when he wants to.
I don't know about that.
He could
but every single game, you knew that Kobe was going to get the ball and no one could stop him. That makes him the best player of this time.
I don't know about
exactly.
that. I mean, he's a clone of Jordan, of course, but and he's always going to be in his shadow. Tim Duncan, on the other hand, is, the best power forward of all time. Like, it's not even an argument. And he could legitimately play for another 3 to 4 years.
Let's just agree that
Kobe
maybe they're co-players of this era. That's all we have for you this week. Thanks for watching. Have a good week.